The holidays are usually festive, but they can be hard if you have suffered loss of a loved one or another disaster this year, or maybe you're just feeling down. The Briarwood Art Center is hosting a grief art party this Sunday that can help. Stephen Brown from Briarwood Art Center and grief counselor Katie Gardner are here to discuss this all. And so first of all, we do want to let people know, is it okay not to feel joyful or festive this season?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely okay.
Yeah, because I mean, we're always bombarded with happy holiday things, but you know, that can be a lot for some people. Is that right, Katie?
Yeah, so around the holidays, there's so many smells and sights and traditions that are going to trigger memories for many of us that make us want to be with our loved ones. And many of us, Steve and I, there are people that won't be there, you know, at our family gatherings, and that's okay to honor that grief that we feel and to find community to process that with. And so some people use art, some people use writing and movement. And so Stephen and I kind of talked how could we collaborate and create a space for this holiday season.
Is it also important for people to understand that they're not the only one that feels down during this time of year?
Right, and I think that's the main part about it, is that a lot of times people will suffer in isolation. You know, and so to keep people from, well, not even necessarily to keep people from doing that, because that's necessary as well. But then there are also times where this loved one that is passed on, I'm sad, but the way I express my grief may be through telling a funny story about them. Like I may see an artifact that reminds me of them, a song that we used to listen to together. So there's ways that we can share that are actually going to help others get through processing their grief as well.
And you both have mentioned, you know, those memories that are always around this time of year, but is it important to acknowledge those memories? You know, even they might bring up some hard feelings, but I mean, is it good just to go through it?
Yeah, so in grief, we often avoid the feeling because it is painful, the reality that they're not there anymore. But through my work in grief counseling, I've seen many people find healing in actually speaking their grief, acknowledging it, facing it, and making sure you're supported. And, you know, death is something that we see often. It's part of the human experience. And a lot of people are grieving alongside you, and they may be holding it in too. So this event, we want people to be able to come together and acknowledge, like, hey, we might be feeling the same thing, or you might be years down the road, and you can give me some wisdom and patience and comfort. Right. So we really want to foster that.
And tell us about the event on Sunday so people can attend.
So I'm actually really excited about it. It will be Sunday, December 15th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And we decided it's not going to be a hard stop time. If people want to keep going after that, they're definitely welcome to. And think celebration of life mixed with show and tell, because we want to give people the platform, even if they may say, well, I want to play a song that really reminds me of this person. I even brought some examples, like my dog, which was very, very close to me. I had him for 12 years, and he passed not unexpectedly. It was, I don't even want to get into it.
They're part of our family, all of our pets.
Oh yeah, like this was my son before my real son. But I like drinking champagne, and I wouldn't throw my corks away because he loved playing with the corks, and he would like throw them up in the air and play fetch with himself with the corks. So I'm like, once he passed, I'm like, I can't get rid of this. It's just something that reminds me of him every time I see him.
And do you have something you want to share to maybe encourage people?
Yeah. So we've talked about it before, but I'm a hip hop artist and producer, and on my last album, I wrote a song about him that was named after him. But even more so about my struggle with processing grief, and not even just my struggle, but as far as consoling someone else. I never know the right things to say without making it sound cliche, and so I wrote a song about my difficulty in comforting someone else as a way of comforting myself through that. And I won't take too long, but I could never find the perfect words to say when they transition. Forgive the cliche condolences, I know you miss them. And I ain't downplaying grief under no condition, because when they go is when you recognize your codependence. So we can talk or drink about it, and that's your decision. I ain't got to have the answers, but I'm supposed to listen. I wouldn't mind it if I leave here with my shoulder drenching. We just snatch a couple plies off the roll of tissue, because what we can't grasp when we enter the storm is how the rain clouds move us to our infinite form. Though the pain is unbearable, the feelings is torn, because they ain't leaving us forever, they just getting reborn. It makes sense that we mourn, but the legacy lives, because a clock can't never measure what our destiny is. The physical's a shell where the treasures be hid, so we had to escape, and it's a blessing he did. And so that's the verse that I wrote about my dog.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And again, all kinds of art at this event too.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, and there will be an opportunity to make an ornament or write a letter to your loved one, just different ways of expression.
Okay. Well, thank you all for being here with us. And of course, also, I want to say thank you for sharing this tough topic, but it is so important to talk about it as well.
There was another celebration, I'm sorry if I'm going over time, there's another
Really quickly,
celebration of life going on at the same time for one of my dear friends from the artist community that passed, named Murph Calcito. And so that celebration of life called Murphapalooza will be at Howlin' Miles that same day.
All right. Well, thanks for letting everybody know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well.